Aaron Heinzelman here again with D2Football.com. I'm still speaking with Matt Jones, the play-by-play voice of the Delta State Statesmen. We talked a little bit about the team and about the matchup with Pitt State and what Delta State's going to bring to the table this week in Pittsburgh. I want to talk a little bit about the players themselves. When you're talking about Delta State, obviously, Matt, I think you got to start with Micah Davis. He's a Harlan Hill finalist quarterback, over 3,400 passing yards. 22 touchdowns, another 13 touchdowns on the ground. Tell me about Micah and the kind of style of offense he runs. Is he running out of the shotgun? Is he under center? What kind of things does he do, and what are his best points about him?
Well, I think we've taken about 8 snaps under center in about the last 8 years. So, no, it doesn't work much under center. We're pretty much a spread pistol attack. Run out of the pistol. Micah's out of the pistol, or the true shotgun. Micah is probably in all my years in athletics, dating back to the early 90s, he is the smartest football player I've ever met. He can tell you from the time that he looks at the defense where it's going, where it's headed. He's just a smart kid. He was a finalist for the Campbell Trophy in New York earlier this week. That's the academic Heisman Trophy for all levels of competition. And he's a 4.0 GPA, 3-bed major in ACS chemistry, has 2 undergraduate degrees, 1 in chemistry, 1 in biology. Here at Delta State, he double majored. He's a kid that just, whatever he puts his mind to, he works. And this year, he's had a couple of throws that he'd like to have back, I'm sure. But he's a quarterback that puts his team in winning situations. You mentioned earlier the 5 fourth-quarter comebacks. Well, 3 of those included drives of 89-plus yards in order for us to get back into situations, for us to have a chance to either tie it up or win it. And Micah, he excels in those situations. And he's a son of a football coach. His dad was a former assistant at Mississippi State and a head junior college coach here in Mississippi. And he's just a great kid. He's a good quarterback. And, a very effective leader for our football team. He can get it done with his arm. He can get it done with his feet. Very good at finding the end zone when he needs to.
And one thing you need to have to be a great quarterback is options. And from what I understand, it's not something that Delta State lacks, as Micah Davis has completed passes this year to 20 different targets. His number 1 target, Chance Dennis, the wide receiver there at Delta. But so I'm talking about the options this guy has, dropping back to pass, and how many different people he can throw to. And then tell me a little bit about Chance and what he brings to the table.
Well, the Statesmen very diverse in their offense. Again, we spread the ball out a pretty good amount amongst our receivers. Again, being 4 wide most of the time. Chance Dennis is the top target. Tim Smith he's a back that, or he's a wide receiver, that just continues to. He makes big plays. We call him Mr. Third Down. He has 42 receptions this year. I think 19 or 24 have come on third down, and 19 have helped extend drives throughout the course of the year. So he's kind of a guy that Micah finds when he needs him. And Chance is one of those guys that he's going to draw the double team, or he's going to draw your best corner. He's a big kid. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. Runs very well, has great hands. But outside of him, Levon Downs, a very speedy wide receiver that, again, has good size in that 6'2" range. Dejarius Adams, transfer from the University of Memphis, same type combination. And then we throw some little guys in there at you that we hope that those big linebackers and D linemen can't see because they're so short. Bill Franks, he's not very tall. Bill's about 5'8", fast as greased lightning. And he's another one of those guys that just always seems to make the plays. And we have a couple of guys, too, that catch the ball very effectively out of the backfield, Brant Botil and Brandon Lucas. And certainly gives Mike a lot of weapons to use. And we also have 3 very good tight ends that all play their role. They're all a little different. Dex Hopkins is our starting tight end, an all-conference player that can catch the ball out of the backfield or catch the ball lined up at tight end, but is a devastating blocker and somebody that certainly we will be expecting to have a big game on Saturday.
Yeah, it speaks a lot about Delta State and how many different guys Micah Davis can get the ball to. Now, you're not just passing the ball all the time, though. You've got some very capable running backs. Richard Freelon and Brandon Lucas, both of those over 600 yards, averaging nearly 6 yards a carry. Brant Botiel, you mentioned him briefly. He's got over 400 yards. The Gorillas at Pitt State are getting a little used to dual threat running back teams. They got past Washburn with Sean McPherson and Justin Cooper, and most recently Northwest Missouri with James Franklin and Jordan Simmons. Is this a 1-2 punch? You're going to see a lot of each one, or are they going to lean on one more than the other? And what kind of things are we going to see out of their backfield?
Well, a lot of it has to do with who has the hot hand, who's being effective. Brandon Lucas is a 4.3, 4.35 guy that can absolutely fly. Last year on our road to the national championship game, Brandon was a guy that kind of carried us. We had Trevor Deed, who was a 3-time All-American running back and receiver, and had done just such amazing things, and racking up over 4,000 yards in his career here at Delta State during his time. And Brandon, though, in the playoffs, he had the hot hand, so he got the football. And it's kind of the way that the offense has gone this year. Brandon's nursed a few little injuries here and there, and Richard and Brant have kind of come in and filled in those voids. Richard was kind of an under-recruited running back here in the state of Mississippi, a big guy, 6'1", 205, 210, but very quick, very physical, a power runner of sorts with good speed. He had his best game by far as a Statesman against North Greenville this past Saturday, 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Brant Botiel, a guy that's a good multi-purpose tight back, runs the ball very effectively, a great receiver out of the backfield, and one that has certainly caused a lot of heartache across the South region anyway. 3 of his touchdowns have gone to win games or to cap those fourth-quarter comebacks this year. And he's another guy that's a very hard-nosed player that gets in there. And then a guy that has kind of emerged a little bit more as the season's gone on. He came in with a bad shoulder injury, but the last 4 weeks has finally started getting back healthy. Avery Horn, that name may sound familiar to some, it may not. He was a high school track champion in California, actually signed one of the top running backs in the country back in the 2007 season, signed with the University of Michigan, was there for a year, went to junior college, and unfortunately had that injury. And kind of how he fell to us instead of going to another Division I school. And he certainly has kind of emerged as another weapon out of the backfield for us during this season. And kind of be interesting to see how the rotation goes this week against that monstrous front that the Gorillas are going to throw at it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see with just a wide array of options on that. On that Delta State offense, how you guys go about doing it. Now, quickly, I know you have somewhere to be here in a few minutes, so I want to talk about the defense. We've got cornerback Dominique Davenport leading the team with 4 interceptions. Obviously, he's making some big plays for you this year. Linebacker Xavier Triplett leads the team in tackles. Along with those 2 guys, who are the playmakers on defense that we need to be looking out for as MIAA or Pitt State fans?
Well, Davenport will remind Pitt State fans a lot of Monterio James, who really was the difference in that game in 2005. Monterio had 2 interceptions in 2005 to kind of help the Statesmen to win that one and put it away. Dominique is a big corner, very good football player, probably has played his best football the last 4 or 5 weeks for the Statesmen. Teams usually don't end up throwing Dominique's way. Dominique will play both cornerback and free safety, depending upon what rotation we're going in the football game. You mentioned Xavier Triplett. Xavier is just a sophomore, a physical linebacker. He is all over the field, has a tremendous motor. What you want out of a middle linebacker. He's not an outside backer. He's a middle backer. Calls all our defenses and checks, and tremendous athlete at that middle linebacker spot. Our defensive front will rotate 5 or 6 guys up front, and all 3 of them in our starting rotation anyway. Anthony Daniels, Mark Hoskins, and Robbie Mayers are all almost interchangeable. They're all the same size. They're all 6'3", 300 pounds. They all run very well. They all get to the quarterback pretty regularly. That's one thing that we've had a lot of success in this year, is sacking the quarterback and forcing turnovers. And But and Robbie Mayers is a nose guard, has 2 interceptions this year. We'll drop him into coverage. He runs so well. It really is interesting to watch him. But the unsung hero of this defense is our strong safety, Jerry Barnes. He'll be wearing 24 on Saturday. He's second on the team in tackles, has 3 interceptions this year, I think 8 pass breakups. Jerry's just one of those guys that does a good job of being everywhere on the field every Saturday, but he's not one of those guys that at the end of the day you're going to be like, man, Jerry. He's just one of those guys that he's always consistent. And he'll be another guy that'll be a major factor in dealing with the option game that Pitt State's going to bring against the Statesmen on Saturday.
Well, it sounds like it's just going to be a great, great game to watch. I hope the weather holds up for your guys' trip up here. But I got to be honest, I think if we get some nasty weather to play this game in, I think it's just going to add to the greatness of what I think is already going to be an awesome football game. And we'll definitely be watching number 24 in the defense, Jerry Barnes, and Michael Davis offensively. And also interested to see this triplet character as we have Pitt State has quite a sophomore linebacker themselves, and Nate Dreiling, who's MIAA player of the or defensive player of the year, freshman of the year last year, and he's just an animal. So it's going to be fun to compare those two. Matt Jones, play-by-play guy for Delta State University. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today, and like I said, I wish you guys safe travels up here, and we'll see you Saturday night in Pittsburgh.
Can't wait, Aaron. It's going to be great.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Have a great day.
Appreciate it. No problem, Aaron.
Bye-bye.